Today, we are going to unpack one of the most powerful ideas out there, leverage. And no, I'm not just talking about finance. We're going to look at leverage as this kind of hidden force, a universal tool that can take one small push and turn it into massive, even world-changing impact.
You know, the whole idea really starts right here, with Archimedes. He knew that if you had the right tool, a lever, you could multiply your force and do things that seemed totally impossible. It's just a brilliant physical metaphor that's stuck around for centuries.
And that leads us to a really important question. What happens when we take that idea of a force multiplier and apply it not just to lifting rocks, but to our businesses, our technology, and even the systems that run our world?
Okay, so let's start where most people bump into this idea for the first time, the world of finance. Here, leverage is all about using borrowed money to crank up the potential return on an investment. It's a classic tool for growth.
At its most basic, financial leverage really boils down to this one fundamental choice. Do you take on debt, borrowing money you have to pay back with interest, or do you raise equity, which means giving away a slice of your company's ownership in exchange for cash right now?
And yeah, this is where you see that it's a classic double-edged sword. I mean, the rewards, they can be huge. You can amplify your returns, and you get to keep full ownership of your company. But the risks, whoa, they're just as real. You are on the hook for those debt payments, good times and bad. And in some situations, even your own personal assets could be on the line. It is a serious high-stakes balancing act. This brings us to what I think is the secret sauce behind all smart leverage, finding what are called asymmetric opportunities. It's about making these calculated bets where the potential upside is just massive, but the potential downside is small and totally manageable. The mantra is, heads I win, tails I don't lose much. That's how you score huge wins without taking crazy risks.
So now, let's see how this same idea blows up into the world of strategy. Because beyond just money, modern businesses have this entire toolkit of levers they can pull to create that same kind of outsized impact.
And today's world is just full of these strategic levers. Just think about it for a second. With automation, a tiny team can have the output of a giant company. With data, you can get insights that were pure science fiction a decade ago. One smart partnership can unlock a brand new market almost overnight, and a powerful digital brand can reach a global audience for next to nothing. These are the force multipliers of our time, and you can really see the impact of this amplification right here. The effort might be the same, but as you go from doing things by hand to using an automated system, and then to using cloud infrastructure, the output just skyrockets. Technology isn't just another tool. It's a lever that creates a kind of scale that was totally unimaginable just a generation ago. Now, this quote signals our final and maybe most profound shift in thinking. What if a lever isn't a tool or a strategy, but a person? And what if the goal isn't just to grow a business, but to actually change the system it exists in? This gets us to the most powerful, and often invisible, leverage points. The ones that don't just help you win the game, but actually let you change the rules of the game itself. People often call this the iceberg model. What we see every single day, the event, that's just the tiny tip sticking out of the water. The real power to make change happen lies deep below the waterline. It's in the patterns, the structures, and deepest of all, the mindsets that control the whole system. That's where the real levers are hidden. The great systems thinker Donella Meadows actually mapped this all out in a hierarchy of leverage. Look, anybody can tweak a number, like a tax rate or a budget. That's pretty low-level leverage. It's way more powerful to change the rules of the game, to alter the feedback loops, but the ultimate leverage, changing the fundamental goal or the entire paradigm of the system, that's how you get truly transformative change. And if you want to see this in the real world, just look at the labor market. Right now, for every single worker who's laid off, 3 are quitting their jobs. This labor leverage ratio isn't just a random statistic. It's a signal of a huge systemic shift in the balance of power between companies and their employees. That is leverage in action, right there. So you might be wondering, how do you even begin to see these deep systemic levers? Well, it takes a totally different way of seeing the world, non-linear thinking. It's this ability to spot the hidden patterns in the feedback loops that our normal step-by-step logic just misses. It's really the essential mindset for creating change at the systems level. Okay, so we've gone on a pretty big journey from a simple physical tool all the way to a profound societal mindset. How do we make this practical? How do you find and use your own lever?
So as you start looking for your own leverage points, just keep a few key ideas in mind. First, there's very rarely a single magic lever. And, this is crucial, be patient. The most powerful levers, the ones that change whole systems, they often work slowly, and they can have consequences you didn't expect. And remember, finding the right point is just the beginning. Actually moving it takes real power.
So, I guess the ultimate takeaway is this. While all these different kinds of levers have their place, the most profound and lasting change doesn't come from changing a number or even changing a rule. It comes from shifting the shared beliefs, the paradigms that hold an entire system together. That is the highest form of leverage.
In the end, leverage is really the art of seeing where one small, precise shift can create these huge, cascading changes. It's about understanding that a single, well-placed push can, actually, move the world. So the only question left is, where will you place your lever?